Igbo people, Uton, una the Kanu don first warn una. Stop building businesses in your enemy state. People when not like una, when not they happy with una success, when they see una progress like this, body go they bat them. Una go still go they develop their state. You leave your eastern region, go they build Lagos. When you know say Yoruba people not like una, they don already declare una years ago as enemy, but una no know. Right now, Lagos state government wan pass into law on how they will take deal with all Igbos wey get businesses and personal house for Lagos. Listen, let me read it for you. Lagos belongs to Yorubas. Lawmakers will pass new property business ownership law favoring only indigenes. You dey hear am? Only indigenes. They wan pass law wey go favor only Yoruba people. If you know you are not a Yoruba man or a Yoruba woman, this law will definitely affect you negatively. That's to tell you that Yoruba people no send you. They don't care to know whether you are progressing in their state or not. They find different means to chase all of una away from Lagos. I don't know why be say federal government choose to work with all these Yoruba people. That was the major reason why federal government put seaport in Lagos. Majority of the big businesses, federal government go land and put for Lagos. Now crime say federal government open wharf for Anambra, open seaport for Onitsha. Igbo people, they manufacture different things like clothes, shoes, handbag, eyeglass, face cap, different things. Yet government never one day invest put for their career.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending of course on where you hear my voice from. This is the Biafra Golden Child, and I'm super glad to come your way again. I'm happy we can, interact with each other today. I love, as I keep saying, receiving your comments. I like your viewpoints, and I like the fact that you take time out of your busy schedules, to always listen to our audios, at the Biafra Superstars Media. Yeah, good morning, and how you doing? Hope you're doing great. Hope, of course, that the month of August, met you happy and is leaving you happy, healthy, and stronger. If that is the case, then you're welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, this morning I want to highlight what is, happening in Biafra land. Of course, I want to bring this particular news, this particular situation, to the awareness of all Biafrans. Because, of course, at every point in time, you must take time to articulate where you are. You must know where the rain, started beating you. And you should, of course, identify where the rain stopped beating you. And that is why at Biafra Superstars Media, we discuss everything and anything that affects our Biafran people. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome aboard to this morning's audio. Yeah, for the benefit of those who don't know, this audio is a reaction to the Yoruba group, the Yoruba group that opposes Igbo festival in Lagos and demanded renaming of streets and airport. Yes, Yoruba group opposes Igbo festival in Lagos, demands renaming of streets and airport. Yes, they say Igbos should leave their Lagos alone for them. Igbos should leave Lagos for them. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is, what has become the reality of today's audio. This is what we're going to talk about. because we are going to see why this Yoruba group opposes Igbo festival in Lagos and demands renaming of streets and airports. Yeah, just in case you're not aware, let me bring you up to speed. The Yoruba Self-Determination Movement, YSDM in quotes, the Yoruba Self-Determination Movement, in bracket YSDM, has issued a strong warning against the planned hosting of an Igbo cultural and intellectual festival in Lagos this October, describing it as provocative and an attempt to lay subtle claims to the cultural and social assets of Yoruba land. The event, which is expected to honor the quote 100 greatest Igbo personalities of all time, unquote, will feature Igbo masquerades, an element the group recalled had previously sparked tension in Lagos. According to the organizers, the event is billed to take place at the prestigious Villa Angelila Hotels, Ikoyi, Lagos State, on October 17th and 18th, 2025, drawing together the brightest stars of Igbo heritage from across Nigeria and the global diaspora. Their position, the position of this Yoruba people, this Yoruba association, their position was made known at a world conference in Ibadan on Friday through a speech read by architect Opeoluwa G. Akinola, deputy leader, Homeland. In addition to rejecting the festival, the group also demanded the urgent renaming of major streets and landmarks in Lagos, arguing that many were imposed during past coalition governments to reflect Northern and Igbo interests. The YSDM particularly criticized naming the streets nearest to the Atlantic Ocean after Sir Ahmadu Bello, the former premier of the Northern region, insisting that it should instead honor Yoruba icons such as Oduduwa, Ademola, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Brigadier Benjamin Adekunle, Moremi, Olokun, or Colonel Shitu Alao. The group also questioned why the Murtala Mohammed International Airport should not be renamed after a distinguished Yoruba military officer. YSDM further accused successive administrations of distorting Yoruba history by renaming Lagos streets after prominent Igbo leaders such as Nnamdi Azikiwe, Ozum Bambadiwe, and Enin Joku, while also balkanizing the Western region through the creation of the Midwest and the carving out of Lagos as a federal capital territory. The group, which alleged that President Bola Tinubu had weakened the Yoruba nation's struggle by aligning with Northern interests for political ambition, called for legislation to reaffirm Lagos as part of Yoruba land to prevent what it described as revisionist attempts, quote unquote, revisionist attempts. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Biafrans, you can see that uh, a whole lot of things are happening. And when we tell our people that we should be conscious of ourselves, we should be conscious of our surroundings, should be conscious of the people we live with. A lot of them think, that probably we have other things up our sleeves. But the truth of the matter is, if you don't know that you are not liked, if you don't know that you are hated, if you don't know that people are envious of you, if you don't know that you're not wanted, then of course you are not mature enough to know who you are. Unfortunately, our Igbo brothers, our Biafran brothers, especially the Biafran elite, especially those of them in the, business world, those of them in the, uh, who dominate the sports, who dominate the music sectors, who dominate, businesses and estates. Of course, a whole lot of them believe that Nigeria is a sanctuary for everybody. A lot of them are still of the erroneous impression that all land, na land. Yes, Alawala, Alawotu. A lot of them believe that wherever where you are, so far you're within Niger, you are safe. Of course, you can develop that place. Of course, you can invest that place. And of course, you can make it your home. But you can find out today, ladies and gentlemen, you can see it very clearly now that, of course, yes, Alawotu. Yes, the lands are not the same. Yes, the Yoruba man, the Southwest people have made you realize that no matter how long you stayed in the Yoruba land, no matter how long you stayed in Lagos, Lagos is no man's land as you claim. No, they say Lagos is not a no man's land. Lagos belongs to the Yorubas, and they want, to hold what is their own dearly to their heart. They want to make sure no usurper, no infiltrator, and no, you know, outsider comes and claims Lagos with them. They don't want to share Lagos with you or any other person. Lagos is our own. Tiwan Tiwa, it's our own. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can imagine the kind of, a warning that has been issued by none other than this group. This group that has come out openly to tell Ndibo, to tell Biafrans their place in Yoruba land. Of course, they have taken their time to issue this warning, and they have told you, please, please, we don't want any Igbo festival in Lagos. We are warning this now. We are telling you right now that we oppose Igbo festival in Lagos. And of course, they are demanding the renaming of streets and airports. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not street urchins, it's not alaye boys, it's not uneducated people, that are doing these things. No, this the Yoruba self-determination movement. The Yoruba self-determination movement, YSDM in bracket, is not for alaye boys, is not for the uneducated, is not for tramps, neither is it, for thugs. This is it's a cultural group and a group and a movement that is fully, occupied and created by the Yoruba intelligentsia, the educated elites, the highest levels of professional practitioners. These are that's to tell you that when they say these things, you are hearing for the horse's mouth. Fellow Biafrans, the Yorubas don't like you. The Yorubas don't want you. The Yorubas feel threatened by the exhibition of wealth, the exhibition of success, the exhibition of, savviness and your Republican attitude. They don't like you and they wish you step away from their Yoruba land. I think this should be, you should give every serious-minded Igbo man, every serious-minded Biafran, uh, a thought-provoking opportunity. This is a food for thought. It's a food for thought. The way our brothers continue to live extravagant lives, the way our brothers continue to spend money, invest in Yoruba land, building edifices, mansions, building all manners of structures, buying every massive hospitality business, believing that they are part and parcel of the Yoruba people, believing equally that Lagos is no man's land. You will be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, that the events of 1967, 68, 69, 70 will soon be repeated. Of course, paramount in that event is, the uh, abandoned property saga, where our brothers, our fathers, our uncles lost these beautiful edifices, companies, buildings, mansions, hotels. Yes, hotels and estates, vast estates uh, in River State, in Delta State, in Lagos State, in Yoruba land, even in the north, because of course the government brought out abandoned property decrees saying that yes, these properties were abandoned. I mean, the owners are no longer, forthwith. The war has scattered every person. Yes, whoever can buy them should buy. Let it become their own. It is abandoned, property. I'm warning our brothers, I'm warning our brothers and sisters who continue, to dance to the gallery. They will continue to hobnob with Yoruba people. They continue to hobnob with Hausa people, believing that, yes, Alawotu, yes, this is my fellow Nigerian. I can be free anywhere I want. I can invest my money in vast estates in Lagos, vast estates in Oyo State, vast estates in Atasaba, vast estates in the north, Abuja, FCT, at Jos, yes, at Gombe. Nothing would happen. Nigeria is one. Brother, sister, be fully aware now that Nigeria is not one. Yes, no matter how many years that has gone since the amalgamation of this country in 1914, 100 and something years till date. Yet, the so-called amalgamation has proven a complete fiasco. I'm sure Lord Lugard, wherever he is now in his grave, wherever his bones were interred, will be shaking his head in self-pity because, of course, he fostered, orchestrated, an amalgamation of different nationalities, people who never loved themselves, people who had different agenda, people of different cultures, people of different expectations, people with different value patterns, people who reward themselves differently, people who didn't love themselves, people who were never and can never achieve a united front. Lord Lugard and his cohorts must be, shaking their heads in self-pity and regret. Because, of course, the amalgamation of the Southern and Northern Protectorate of Nigeria in 1914 has failed woefully. It, of course, has not achieved any meaningful objectives. It has not served any purpose. Instead, it has brought in a lot of acrimony, a lot of pride and prejudice, a lot of hatred, a lot of genocidal, attacks on innocent members of that amalgamation, especially the Southeast people. And of course, our founding fathers, the nationalists who fought for independence of this country in 1960, people like Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, who was always fueled by the mantra of one Nigeria, one global Nigeria, because of course he was under the tutelage of late Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, who wanted to achieve what was achieved in America. I mean, if different components, if different countries can come together and form the United States of America, the USA, Kwame Nkrumah thought Africans equally can jettison this so-called craze for independence and come together, all of us as a United States of Africa. He taught Nnamdi Azikiwe well, he tutelaged him, he mentored him, and of course that is why, our revered late Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe never wanted, a sovereign Biafra. He wanted Nigeria to be one. He wanted the Igbos, the Biafrans to be aligned, to Nigeria, to other Nigerians, so that he and Kwame Nkrumah could achieve what they thought would be a formidable United States of Africa. Unfortunately, that is history. I think that dream died with, late Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. That dream died even before the death of late Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. He saw it and he experienced it, how he could not win any basic elections. Of course, how he was forced because of course, the uh, unfortunate nature of the arrangement of the amalgamation of this country and of the political class of Nigeria, who made sure an ordinary school teacher in the person of Alhaji Tafawa Balewa could become the first executive prime minister of Nigeria, while the great Zik of Africa, a formidable intellectual, a social juggernaut, and a political Iroko, was forced, marginalized to become a mere figurehead president. The marginalization did not start today, ladies and gentlemen. Fellow Biafrans, brothers and sisters, the marginalization of Ndibo did not start today. It started way out, even in the full glare of our own late Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. These were some of the things, that our Biafra Field Marshal, Dame Otumegwu Ojukwu, blessed memory, saw, and it was very, very bitter. It left a bitter taste in his mouth. He saw how Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, a revered friend of his father, Sir Louis Ojukwu, a man who had a compelling language, he had a compelling presence. Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe was an orator, was a political juggernaut, was a man who was widely and highly traveled, revered around the world, and yet he was treated like a mere figurehead. He was treated disdainfully and appointed, forced to become, a vassal, forced to become a president, ceremonial president to a primary school teacher, Alhaji Tafawa Balewa from Bauchi State. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how to keep saying this because every time we say it, it sounds like we're oversaying it. But the truth is that we cannot continue like this. If you don't know, you are hated. If you don't know, you are wanted. If you don't know that you are unwanted in a contraption as Nigeria is, then it's unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, the Yoruba self-determination movement the YSDM has issued a strong warning against the planned hosting of an Igbo cultural and intellectual festival in Lagos this October, describing it as not only provocative and an attempt to lay subtle claims to the cultural and social assets of Yoruba land, but equally warning that this festival must not and will never be allowed to hold or be held in Lagos, which is a Yoruba man's land. Yes, and of course, we know what the event was targeted at. The event, which is expected to honor, quote, the 100 greatest Igbo personalities of all time, unquote, will feature Igbo masquerades. An element the group recalled had previously sparked tensions in Lagos. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to reach out to our Igbo brothers, especially the ones who are conveners of this great festival, because according to the organizers, the event is billed to take place at the prestigious Villa Angelia hotels at Ikoyi, Lagos State, on October 17th and 18th, 2025. Yes, drawing together the brightest stars of Igbo heritage from across Nigeria and the global diaspora. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to encourage our brothers, the conveners of this event. You have a whole lot of places where you could have convened this event, where you could have located this event, which could have served as a very, very powerful center for this event, especially in the southeast, especially in our own Biafra land. I don't know why our people have this penchant of crying, behaving as if charity begins not at home anymore, but outside the home. Ladies and gentlemen, charity begins at home. Why do you take what should serve a very important milestone in the life of your people, in the life of Igbo men? You want to highlight, you want to recognize the 100 greatest Igbo men of all times, and you are scheduling the event, you are locating the event, you want to achieve the event in a Yoruba man's land, knowing fully well that this will bring about jealousy. This will rekindle jealousy and envy. This will rekindle, lurid hatred, pathological hatred syndromes that, of course, the Oduduwa people have always had for you. I don't know why our people don't listen. I don't know why our people don't learn. How can you be so insensitive? We'll continue to deceive ourselves that we are loved. If at this stage, in 2025, an Igbo man, a Biafra man can still deceive himself that is loved by somebody from the southwest, from somebody from the north. That person, that person deserves, to have his mind investigated. I think we should do a psychological test on such a person. I mean, if you remember the events, following the 1966 coup, the January 1966 coup in this country, the coup that was led by Major Kaduna Nzogo, a Hausa man who bore an Igbo name, an Igbo man who was more Aboki than an Igbo man, a man who spoke Hausa, who ate Hausa, who lived Hausa, and who, of course, interacted with Hausas as if they were his kith and kin. This is a man who was purposely and obviously fully integrated in the Hausa culture. It had nothing to do with Ndibo. It had nothing to do with the Southeast. But of course, when he was involved in a coup in 1966, that coup was immediately labeled an Igbo coup. And of course, they said the Igbos stood to benefit. The Igbos were less harmed. Why did they not execute their ringleaders, their key leaders? People like Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, people like Dr. Mike Opara. Why were the Igbos left while the Sadana was killed? Madu Bello. Why Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, the first prime minister, was killed? Why did they spare Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe? Why did they spare people in the southeast? Of course, that coup was labeled an Igbo coup. And because of that, there was a massive onslaught against the Igbos. Of course, a pogrom was determined against Igbos from the north. And of course, it looked like a genocide, had been declared. And they began to kill, they began to maim, they began to rape, they began to disfigure, and they began to, mass rape and gang rape our people. Of course, they chased the Igbos from the north, chased them down to the southeast, and even chased us. When we even got back to our region, our aboriginal area, they still fought us, they still chased us, and of course, they declared a civil war against us. It is only an Igbo man who does not know this history, who does not know the facts and figures, the immediate and remote causes of the civil war, that will continue to embrace, to act as if nothing happened, to act like somebody without an identity. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know where the rain started beating you, you will never know where it ended or stopped beating you. It's very unfortunate that our people are not learning. We find it difficult to learn. Why? Why are people not learning? Why are Biafrans still dancing to the gallery? Still dancing so that somebody will clap hands for you? But still dancing. It hurts me. It hurts me what our elite, what our political elite, our so-called leaders in the Southeast are doing. All of them, all the governors, all the House of Legislators, all the legislators, all the senators are doing themselves to present themselves as worthy brides to the Jagaban. All of them are postulating, yeah, and forcing their people to support the Jagaban for 2027. Because, of course, they want to be Ajib. They want to continue as Ajib, any government in power, because they want to remain in power. Of course, the validation they seek is for the Jagaban to say, yes, Oludo is my man. He has to be there. Yes. If I in Ebonyi State, he has to be there. Yeah, the governor of Ebonyi State is my man. That's what the Jagaban says. The governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, is my man. They are my people. So our people need validation from the Jagaban before they can continue to operate. It's very unfortunate what our Igbo elites are doing. Look at our social elites, all the Cubanas of this world, all the great personalities of this world, all the chief priests of this world. All they are doing, investing in the Southwest, investing outside the Southeast, building mansions here and there, developing estates here and there. Look at Landmark, the owner of Landmark Tourism and Resorts. An Igbo man that could have invested his money in the Southeast, where you can be sure, where the insurance is sure, where you can be sure that nobody will call your property abandoned property. Nobody will come wake up one morning and say, no, we want to take this. It belongs to us. It is on our land. The man who built it is a sojourner. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't tell yourself the truth, who is going to tell you the truth? If Biafrans at this point in 2025 cannot remember the traumatic experiences of children who died of kwashiorkor, If they could not remember how their sisters and mothers were raped and gang raped, if they cannot remember how our uncles, our fathers had their fingers caught in fashion, caught. If they remove the index finger, they remove this, they remove that, so that you can hold and apply. You can shoot a gun, of course. You can hold a cutlass. And of course, you couldn't farm. They mutilated our elders, our men, our male folk, and turned them into clowns and charlatans, almost turning them to vegetables. If you remember, that because of the blockade of the air, the blockade of the sea, and the land blockade imposed by the Nigerian government, that medicines, much needed medicines, Medicare could not reach our sick and elderly. And of course, a lot of people died. Over 4 million, 4-point-something million Biafrans died in a war that was useless, that was ruthless, that was unnecessary, that was forced on an innocent people. When I see what our elites are doing today, when I see what Igbo politicians are doing today, how they have not been with those people who declared a genocide on their families, a genocide on their kith and kin, a genocide on Biafra land, it hurts me, and I shed hot tears. Ladies and gentlemen, the Yoruba group has come out to say, please, if you want to hold your cultural festival, you want to do your hosting an Igbo Cultural Intellectual Festival in Lagos this October, please move away. We don't want you. We don't want you in Yoruba land. Lagos is not a no man's land. Lagos is a Yoruba land. Ladies and gentlemen, the word is enough for the wise. I think when we tell our people, embrace Biafra, come to the USB, invest in the USB, support the USB, the United States of Biafra. They redeclared sovereign United States of Biafra. They think we are just engaging in, unnecessary talking. But you can imagine the reality. Monies have been spent in advance for this cultural festival. Halls have been booked at the hotel, paid for. Rooms have been booked for the high-profile caliber people that will be coming. But yet these people have come out. The Yoruba self-determination movement, in bracket, YSDM, has come out to say, no, we don't want you. We don't care how much you spent. We don't care what publications you have done. We don't care what IVs have been sent out. We don't care how many rooms you have booked. Lagos will not receive you. Do not host this event here. We'll make sure you don't host it. I will make sure we interrupt and intercept, if possible, even with violence, if you come here. Take your masquerades elsewhere. Take your people elsewhere. Go and recognize your Igbo 100 greatest elsewhere. We don't care. We are not with you. We don't like you. We don't want you. Go away. As far as we're concerned, we are not the same with you. Go to your southeast. Go to your Biafra land. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a sad one, but that is the reality. I want this to be a food for thought for everyone. Let's think about it, and let's know that the truth is sacrosanct. USB, the United States of Biafra, is the answer. God bless you all. Thank you and bye-bye.
Yeah, check me out. Superstars Media. Lord Logan, Bloomington, Lord Logan, and it's wild Flora show. 1914 amalgamation is what we dying for. 3 nations to 1 nation. Ever since annihilation, nepotism is nonsense. You and you, clap your hands. Biafra gonna come, clap your hands. Biafra, Oduduwa, we're free now. Freedom is gonna come, we're free now. Yeah.
Hold it there, hold on there. Hold it there, my people. Do you all even catch the lyrics in that jingle? In the outro, do you just catch what I said in that jingle? About Lord Lugard. The one they call Lord Lugard and his wife, Flora Shaw. Did you catch what I said? Did you catch the lyrics of what I said in that jingle? Let me break it down, because sometimes you guys, you are difficult in learning or hearing. You pretend you don't hear what I was saying there. I said, and I quote, blame it on Lord Lugard and his wife, Flora Shaw. 1914 amalgamation is what we are dying for. 3 nations to 1 nation. Ever since annihilation, nepotism, it's nonsense. You, clap your hands, clap your hands. Biafra is going to come. Clap your hands, clap your hands. Biafra, Oduduwa, we are free now. Our freedom is going to come. We are free now. End of quotes. Today, we the Biafrans, we are free. My brother, the Oduduwa, are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Because I've always put you guys. I've had high hopes for you guys. You guys claim you are the most educated in that zoo called Nigeria. You are the most vast, the most learned. So I had belief in you that you know what is right and what is wrong. So in my lyrics, I said, blame it on Lord Lugard and his wife, Flora Shaw. 1914 amalgamation is what we are dying of. 3 nations to 1 nation. He made 3 nations to 1 nation. Ever since annihilation, nepotism, racism, tribalism, this is nonsense. You, clap your hands, clap your hands. Biafra is going to come. Clap your hands, clap your hands. Biafra, Oduduwa, we are free now. Freedom is going to come. We are free now. Lord have mercy. I made those lyrics when I saw my brother Chief Sunday Igboho rose up for his people. I was inspired by God to add the Yorubas to that freedom, the redemption of a people. I wasn't being selfish. I didn't just speak of my people, the Biafrans alone, because I have this love, affinity for the Yorubas.